Okay. We're here with student athletes Joy, Hano, Robert Cardenas, and Elias Wiggins. Kind of just recapping the Oregon preview we had in Hayward Field and Eugene last weekend. Lots of big performances from these three. Elias Wiggins had a PR in the 1500, broke the 4-minute barrier. Joy Hano jumped up on the school record list. She was already on the school record list in the 100 hurdles, but she improved her mark further there. Climbed to, I believe, 5th all time in the 200 meters. And Rob Cardenas had a big PR in the shot put. Was it shot put? Yes, shot put. Yeah. Made a conference qualifier in that and placed 8th in the final. So first off, just starting with, let's start with yours first, Rob. Just kind of talk about the environment of performing in Hayward this weekend and just how cool of an experience that was.
All right, so I would like to begin with the fact that it was just the team helping me behind, because even when we first stepped off the bus, the energy was just crazy. It was crazy in the fact that we were at Hayward, number one. Number two, everybody else was just kind of wild about it and excited just because it's Hayward Field. And I don't know, this trip felt like it was bonding more than the previous two, just because we knew what we were going to, we knew what we were expecting by going to that field, and everybody's emotions just kind of clicked once we got there, and that's what really helped me, especially when I got on the ring area of the field.
And talk a little bit about the emotional energy, just how much that kind of fueled you as you went about the day, and just that whole experience, being like, wow, I'm here, and this is great,
Yeah, just so many historic performances seen on YouTube from I've never been there personally, but just seen on YouTube and Instagram and things like that. I knew I had to perform, and I just knew I had to keep a calm stature, because in my mind I was going crazy. I told Coach Ingram before, my mind was going wild like a little angry chihuahua, and but I just had to keep basically a calm stature and poise through everything, just because of how historic the field is and how much the team was excited behind me. And yeah, it was great.
And Joy, for you a little bit, just kind of talk about your experiences. I mean, you got to get the whole thing. You got to be on the long jump pit, and then you got to do, obviously, the 2 track events that you were doing that day. Just kind of talk about your whole day. Just kind of give us a summary of the day for you.
Yeah, kind of going off of what Rob said about that energy, getting off the bus and doing our shakeout, there was just this buzz within the team of excitement, and just you could really feel the history in the place, even if you've never been there before. Like Rob, it was my first time going, and it was just something I wasn't expecting before. It was probably the most beautiful facility I've ever been to, and going from field events to track events, I really felt like I got to experience the best of both worlds of Hayward, and it was a lot of fun. We started off with long jump in the morning, and luckily we had all our long jump girls there. So Gracie, Coco, and myself, with the addition of our coach, Kate Eilers. She was actually competing unattached, and just having our whole crew there was amazing. Started off a little slow in long jump for all of us, but we built off each other and we picked it up, and we were able to get each other through the meet by reminding each other of our cues and just supporting each other throughout every jump, which was really, really helpful. And then all 4 of us went to long jump, or to hurdles, and from long jump to hurdles, we were able to warm up together and take on that adventure together. And it was honestly amazing. The staging area, we got to go underneath Hayward and see all of Oregon's facilities, and it was really, really cool. And it was just a lot of fun. It was a great break between the 100 hurdles and the 200. I was able to watch some events. I think some of the highlights was just watching my teammates compete on such a beautiful and big stage. I remember during long jump, we were kind of in a lull, and that's when Elias started racing, and just seeing him finish and seeing him grind out that last 100 gave us just another energy boost. And it was just, like Rob said, it's like that energy within the team, feeding and building off each other. It was so special, and I think the entire team got a really good feel for how that energy helps each other. And I think from now on, we're going to try to bring that energy to every meet.
And then kind of a follow-up for you and for Elias, because you guys both, you obviously winning overall in the 100 hurdles, getting to do that victory lap, and Elias getting to do a bit of a victory lap himself in the 1500. Just kind of talk about how cool that was. That's something you usually don't get to do at a lot of these invitationals. Just kind of talk about what was going through your head at that time.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, for sure. It gave like a little moment to embrace it all and like truly look around, because when you're racing, you're more locked in. You're like trying not to kind of get sucked into the whole like where you are, and more just like more focus on your plan and your race. But yeah, just like running around and like random cheers from the crowd, it was really nice, and just being like, yeah, like
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah,
It was
it's like-
accomplished. It felt fulfilling for sure.
You never really get to interact with the crowd during running events. And so to do that victory lap and look into the crowd and have people cheering for you. And, last summer I was watching Worlds from my couch at home and seeing those runners and those field eventers like doing their victory lap. It was such a special moment. And I know my mom was crying. So it was definitely something I won't forget. And, seeing our teammates do the same, it was just so honoring.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. And so now we're kind of back to reality a little bit. You guys are getting ready to go down south this weekend. You have a handful of meets on the docket. You're going to be at the San Diego State invite down at San Diego State, the Aztec invite, sorry. Then you're also going to be at San Marcos for the Mangrum invite, which is also the CCA preview. That's where the conference meet will be this year. And then you're also going to be performing on Saturday at the Point Loma invite in La Jolla. Just kind of talk about for you, what your goals are this weekend, what the expectation is. I know it's going to be one of those weekends where you're not necessarily expected to race one day. You're going to be racing over multiple days, kind of getting a feel for kind of championship racing.
Sure. One of the biggest things I started thinking about this weekend was I just had to recreate the energy that was in my mind during my throws at Hayward, because for some reason it was like the most crazy in my mind, like I said before, but I was also the most poised and statured and ready to go. And just recreating that feeling in the ring, making sure all my positions are hit. That's just something I have to do at every single meet from now on, and I know how to do it. And I'm pretty sure everybody else looked really, really good, and they just had to lock in the same energy, and then the same energy we had all weekend. It'll be great.
Yeah, I think just practicing that focus that Hayward kind of let us really like kind of discover in a way. Like I think there's another level of like pointing all your attention and stress leading up to it to like, okay, I have one task to do. That's something I kind of felt. And so I think this weekend will just be another opportunity to do the same. And, regardless of where we are, it's like you can unleash that energy, like Rob was saying.
Yeah, these type of weekends are great for our postseason prep because at conference it is a multiple day meet, and it's a different type of feel from knowing you only have one day to compete and one day to perform, and all of a sudden having to compete over multiple days and figuring out how to maintain that energy and maintain that focus for multiple days in a row. So this weekend is just going to be a really, really good opportunity for us to practice that focus over the couple of days, as well as see the conference facility and see where we'll hopefully be in May, and just kind of get at least one meet there and get familiar with the whole scene of it all, so that when we come back in May, we're a bit more confident.
I think one question I just wanted to maybe address was, as far as, you kind of already answered it, but one thing I was wondering is just, it feels like you responded to it as far as elevating, you felt an elevating factor, at Hayward Field. And I guess what is that like to really have sort of maybe an open level of competition? Do you feel like that's a challenge that you take on that kind of allows you to take your own, performances to another level?
Competing against those bigger schools and even those D1 schools or those higher level D2 schools that we're keeping up with now, it's really a great opportunity because it allows us to, like you said, elevate and rise to that challenge, because especially for running events, and personally speaking myself for hurdles, there's a lot of the times where you feel like you could be running alone, but having a field that you can visibly see with you honestly pushes you. And it's like watching these other girls jump like marks that are just absolutely impressive. It's like I see them and I want to do the same. I want to be up there with them, and it kind of just drives you to that next level. And especially for running events, just having someone like on you is definitely one of the best and worst feelings. Worst because you got to keep your stuff together, but best because that you're pushing yourself to be better because of them, and you're also pushing them to become better. And so when you have a competition that's equal to you, it just benefits everyone overall. So having these bigger competitions, it's really a great opportunity, and we're just so fortunate to have these great meets lined up for us this year.
Yeah, I think it really just is like iron sharpens iron. You enter a race and you're there to race and to compete. And so when you have competition that's like right around your level, even a little better, it pushes everyone forward, you know.
That's true. Like basically building off on what they said. One of my coaches a couple years ago used to say that everybody gets up in the morning and puts their pants on the same exact way. Everybody dresses the same exact way before a meet. Everybody does the same exact thing. We're all human. So, and just seeing that they're like supposedly, I mean, they have better marks or they have like better performances in the past doesn't mean that you can't rise to that challenge that day and get exactly what they're getting or even better.
Mhm.
So that's what it really opened up to me.
Sure. I mean, I think another thing that you guys have talked about, taking the energy from that, thinking about, internalizing that as a team, carrying it over to the other meets. But at the same time, I think you're obviously battling a little bit against the monotony of a season. This is still pretty early. Still pretty early in the season, and there will be that kind of repetitive slate. So how do you kind of, process that? Is that something that you hold maybe in the back of your mind, you tap into, towards the end of the season? Obviously, everything's going to be built towards peaking at the end of the season. Is it something where you keep it in the back of your mind? Is it something where you carry it every week? I mean, on one hand, I think there's a danger of like, then do you lose it? Does it become... So how do you kind of internalize that, process that, and maximize its usefulness as you carry on through the season?
After experiencing my first full season last year, I felt like every weekend was a new experience. And, I did have that fear coming into the season where it would get a little repetitive and it would get a little bit, I've experienced this last year. It's like, how is that supposed to rank up to this year? But I feel like, this is a new year. It's a new team. It's a new energy. And we're going to different meets and we're going to different places that we didn't go to the year prior. And, it's the same races and it's the same jumps every time, but because you're in a different location competing against different teams, at least for me, it never gets too repetitive, especially because every race I try to focus on a different cue, or every jump I try to focus on a different point that I really like to emphasize in my jump. And because of that, it just feels like I take each race as its own. I'm not comparing it to the last one. I'm not thinking about the one ahead. I'm really just taking it meet by meet, day by day, and trying to enjoy the experience as much as I can, because I remember my freshman year, I got one meet and then COVID took it away. So I think something that's been a driving factor in my collegiate career so far is just kind of taking every race and every jump and being grateful for it, and just really trying to do my best, not for the marks or not for, any accolades that comes with it, but it's just because, we see each other work so hard, and just to do our best that day is all we can really ask. And so just trying to be grateful for every opportunity is really what keeps things different for me.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with that. Like, each race is an opportunity to push your limits, and like I kind of just take that with me to each race, I guess. And I don't know. It's just like it's like a constant striving. So it's like you're never really gonna reach a point where you're like, okay, I'm done. So it's like it's nice to know it's like it's a fun journey to be on.
Mm-hmm.
For me.
One of the things I like to think about, like every competition, like even if I PR, like it's just there's always more that could have been done, because like you had to be happy with like whatever personal best you got in that meet. But there's always a thing in the back of your mind that for me that says, okay, that wasn't the extra centimeter that I wanted. What are we going to do differently next time to make sure that happens? And that's like one of the biggest things that I want to put into every other meet, because every meet is a different opportunity. It's another one, and I'm grateful for all of them.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
Good job, guys.